my god!
Oh, hello, Ray.
What are you watching?
I'm watching Chainsaw Man.
You like anime?
You like Chainsaw Man?
Huh.
Cool. Hey, that's Chainsaw Prince.
Okay, we need to actually update the folder sheet because there's been a lot of movement in the playoffs before this match. So top 4 is still in play for Golden Guardians, and FlyQuest can still lock first. But the bigger portion is TL was eliminated earlier in the day.
Rip.
TSM cannot get 6th without at least a tiebreaker, and they only have a 25% chance of making it into top 6. So that means CLG, 100 Thieves, and Golden Guardians all have at least an 84% chance or higher of being in at least a playoff to make it into playoffs.
These aren't clean cuts, Emily.
No, I'm folding now after I did some ripping.
The folder sheet is getting a lot smaller, but now we need to turn our attention to the final game of the day, Golden Guardians versus FlyQuest. The percentage of scenarios where Golden Guardians lock a playoff spot, Raz, 96.875.
Oh my God, that's high.
That means very high.
That is very high.
They should be in playoffs.
Yes, they cannot mess it up, guys.
Well, they can. 3%.
Like, they will not mess it up. It will not happen. The greatest golden choke is not coming to fruition. What are you looking at?
Oh no, I was looking to see how that would happen.
No, we're not looking.
Oh, that's going to take time.
Yeah, we're not. That's not possible. But another thing that is, a communication that stuff we've been talking about is all pro, all split long. It's been a conversation at the very beginning of the split. It's been around Prince and stuff like this. But you know, there has been a lot of metrics and conversations around it. But why not just punch into who's just the best in the position, like regardless of games and stuff like that? So what do you got?
I got junglers because, you know, I love doing jungle pathing spreadsheets. And I wanted to draw on mine because here's the thing.
Is this in order?
This is in order. So I still think River, I actually think River has been the #1 jungler of the split for the regular season.
Okay.
Okay? This could change. But for right now, I still think River has been the best jungler. This gets so messy because these are 3 very different junglers, and I have no idea what order these are going to end up in.
Jatt
like,
shambles.
Yeah, I know. I know this is like hedging my bets, but obviously I feel like the things that they have been good at in this specific meta are very, very different. Like, for example, I pointed out, obviously, Jatt, you did your over-the-top defense.
#1.
Blabber for MVP, which is, you know, even a bigger award than All-Pro Jungler. But I think, as I've said before, the things I really value about Blabber are his efficiency. He plays really well. Obviously, he has very good lanes to play around, which I think is kind of a knock that other people are giving him, especially when you compare it to his past MVP seasons. In terms of River, what I really value is his ability to, again, jungle to lane communication, his knowledge of where he needs to be at what times in relation to what his lanes are doing. Even in their 0-4 start, I thought he still had that, right?
Yeah.
Even when they were struggling, and even in games that they lose, I still think that he has that. Even with the, the Scion swap they did yesterday that didn't, I loved seeing it, didn't work out that great. But yeah, I have no clue what I'm gonna do with my 2-3. And it's between those 3 players.
Final week should do a lot of damage on that one. So this is also going to be the same case for mid lanes. Mid lane is probably going to be the most contentious conversation because all mid lanes have been a little bit on and off. So these are just top 4 mids, and this is what benefits me is that I don't got to talk about how many games M&S didn't play this split. He has just been on fire from the beginning. The only one game was the Nerves Victor game that I would pick out and say that that one was poor. But outside of that, he has been huge. The Tryndamere game comes to mind. So I think that one's a clear one where M&S comes in clutch. The only question is when it's all pro, people, including myself, will ding him for not being here from the beginning. Something that he can't control, but would be unfair to other players. Jojo Pion's a tough one. We just saw his Veigar game, and obviously that one was poor. So maybe he gets dinked down a few times when it comes to all pro. But generally speaking, his laning phase has been top-notch. He really hits the stats from that point of view, and also just I think his team fighting is great. So like he's just a playmaker that he works alongside with his jungler really well and Inspired. So those two for sure.
I can't wait to see how the voting actually plays out. It's a combination of casters, analysts, third party. Each team gets a coach vote and a player vote. So it's a culmination of all those things to see what the top 3 are. I also have a bit of a random stat.
Okay.
A lot of people would say FlyQuest would be Golden Guardians in this game, the 5th game of the day. When Golden Guardians plays the 5th game of the day, they are 6-0. So that is 4 more wins than FlyQuest, but also someone's got to lose. No one's ever lost this game 5. So let's see who it's going to be. Gabby and Mark, take it away.
Game 5s.
Game 5. I wasn't just
Jatt stat
chugging water.
coming up big there. Ovally with the glitter toss.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this will be a fun game because one team has to break the undefeated streak in the final game of the day. FlyQuest looking a little sus recently. I think, you saw a lot of those top 4 lists that they were talking about. FlyQuest members were dominating that through the first round robin, starting to slip now. I know people have not been super impressed by VicLa as of late. The Prince MVP, best AD carry easily. Is he the best import ever? Train came to a screeching halt in the second round robin. So for FlyQuest, it's not about just like the accolades, but also heading into playoffs with some momentum. You definitely don't want to eat a number of losses as you kind of limp into the postseason.
That's why there is a different emphasis on finding success in the first round robin versus the second. One, because of the state of teams, but also because of exactly what you were saying. Going into playoffs, that recency does inform how you and the rest of the team are approaching the rest of your game. So now against Golden Guardians. But I will say for FlyQuest to be going against Golden Guardians here, GG's kind of also in this boat have had a really great surge and then been trying to figure things out in recent games.
Yeah, it was a really curious middle of the season for Golden Guardians because it wasn't just that they ripped off a win streak, they also beat Cloud9 and EG during that period of time. It was, again, as you kind of heard them talking about, M&S's first game that they kind of were able to take advantage of him. But after that really impressive week where everyone bought in, they kind of came back down to earth a little bit, still looking quite good. But everyone was expecting Golden Guardians to finish above 500 for the first time ever in their organization's history. They're still looking to do that. It should still happen. If not today, tomorrow, but there is that kind of looming over their head still.
Looking to turn that single digit into a double for the 10 and 7 to be able to make that mark.
They see the Varus insta-slam the Vi. Okay.
All right, so River has been such an important component of Golden Guardians in general, and bringing that pick here to try to lean in what they feel is the best strategy in response to the Varus.
Yeah, both just going very hard engaged in early game already out of Golden Guardians, having an identity of what they want to go for. Like you said, River has been a key part of that kind of resurgence for Golden Guardians this year. It's funny because he was on Dignitas last split, heralded as one of the reasons that they were kind of overperforming people's expectations, got traded to Golden Guardians right at the tail end of the season as the kind of trade window was expiring, and then they barely won any games with him. And everyone's like, this is what you traded for? Much better this year, but you can see on top of Emily's top 4 jungle list, it's very contentious right now about who should be where. Spica's had an incredible split. Blabber is surging like crazy in the second round robin, and then River has been pretty consistent throughout.
I feel like when there is a lot of contention in the category in that way, you're often looking towards what people's criteria is. Is it performance throughout? Are you in the camp of they have to be a standout on that team, thus you're not thinking of a Cloud9 or something like that? Or are you having their success be a reflection of the team around them? And River performing well with Golden Guardians thus far, even speaking to kind of that difference between what we saw in Dignitas and then Golden Guardians immediately after that trade. Their staff did talk about the impact of communication, and the longer that he's been here, improving on English, how that has allowed the rest of the team to propel and beyond.
Yeah, they've definitely found their footing middle of the season. Still some growing to do because there was not until week 2 that Gori joined them. Interesting stuff from the draft right now. First off, first Elise game for Spica thus far. He has been on tank duty. 5 Maokai games, 4 Sejuani games, 3 Amumu games. and then Navai. This is his first Elise game, and Spica made his name actually with an aggressive, carry-oriented jungle style. And so he has done what the team wanted this split. Now that things are starting to fall apart a little bit more, he's giving some agency back in the early game to try and make some things happen. So I'm really excited to see what he can do there. The other thing that was interesting was the Renekton ban by Golden Guardians. It has been a staple of Licorice thus far, and it looks like they actually are banning that one out themselves. I thought for sure that's a, fourth pick there, set up the blind Renekton. It's pretty safe on its own. Licorice pilots it very well to give counter pick for mid lane, but we'll have to see what they do here as the Yone ban comes in as well.
Taking top side into a different direction for Golden Guardians on their own accord with their banning strategy. And FlyQuest, yeah, I'm stoked to see Spica on this pick because it was something that was touched upon during interviews that he had earlier on in the season. Yeah, I'm playing the tanks, playing the Mumu, I'm doing the tank duty, I'm doing whatever it takes to win, and kind of biding time for when the meta or what the team was looking for would open up for him.
Yeah, so he's still top of the table basically in kills and assists at 14. He's had a very good split. Still in the lead in CSD as well. If you just look across the table, near #1 in almost all categories. But with the team struggles more recently, I can understand him wanting to shift his style up a little bit as we see the LeBlanc. I think this is the first time we're seeing, I could be wrong, first time we're seeing it potentially since the little buff came in to give LeBlanc's Q a bit of a refund on minion kills. Not that big of a buff for pro play, I would argue, because most pro players are actually good at last hitting, unlike us bronzies and everyone else in Twitch chat, So we see the immediate Tristana answer, though. I'm pretty sure that's going mid lane.
Ooh, Tristana coming out for FlyQuest. So I do like that we are seeing just a different direction for Gori. Has had a couple games on the LeBlanc, but feel like it's been a little bit of time and facing off here against FlyQuest with VicLa has been one of the people on FlyQuest that many are looking to when comparing performances of the second round robin to the first. We know how great he can be, not just as an individual player, but looking for the different angles for the rest of the squad, looking for the styles in which FlyQuest can capitalize upon to make his plays possible and see what he can pull off here.
Yeah, we'll have to see what he can do. Gori's been a playmaker, but the Tristana is very hard to get prio in the lane. Licorice slams the Malphite. This looks pretty good here. A ton of physical damage. You have some mix, technically, from Tristana and Varus each. Spica being the only real magic damage threat. There's a lot of ambient magic damage, of course, with, of course, Nautilus having some. But unless this goes AP on hit, there's not really a consistent DPS threat. So it'll be a very good game for Licorice to stack armor, stack things that affect attack speed in particular, and then just be a beefy frontline for Golden Guardians.
So with that beefy front line for Licorice and some of the different response from FlyQuest, Spica being enabled on this Elise, how you feeling about this draft? Who are you looking at?
I mean, I do like the comp in theory from FlyQuest. They do have double marksmen. You have a good front line with the Cassante and the Nautilus to kind of sit in front. But because the enemy team does have a Malphite, that does mean it's very hard to actually punch through. We'll have to see. There is a lot of hard engage on the side of Golden Guardians and a lot of playmaking. But you do have to get through the enemy team front line. So I think it'll be a lot about the angles that Golden Guardians actually attacks from.
FlyQuest and Golden Guardians both amidst making their final pushes for the regular season game 2 of this Super Week of Week 8. See what they can bring to the table. But yeah, I think we've seen a lot of games when you're talking about that hard engage and going against kind of some of the beefy targets on the opposite end. There are quite a few games that kind of occur in that way when you have the solution. Okay, you get some kind of lock, you bring somebody in from the opposite team, the culling is thrown out, and then that's it on the later portions. Early on, great. Later, been harder to get in there with that damage.
Yeah, being able to utilize the first strike, culling, Gale Force combo is kind of the bread and butter of what Lucian wants to do in the mid game. Can be very difficult to execute on. For Golden Guardians, like we said, still trying to find their winning record split. Nice little wall hop there to face check VicLa. For FlyQuest, they need this win to keep pace with C9. Of course, it's not in their hands if they can get first place or not. It will require a C9 stumble tomorrow, but to put themselves in position, they need to win today, they need to win tomorrow, and hope that Cloud9 loses. Otherwise, they're locked in. That's that second place match. Not 100% sure who they're playing yet, I'm pretty sure, but most likely going to be EG.
Yeah, but so a bit more pressure on FlyQuest side considering how that game went yesterday for them when wanting to attend for that top position, Spica and Impact.
Yeah, going in for an invade.
Set Licorice and River along this red side. Licorice the first to be the subject of Impact in the separation, so early aggression here on the top side from FlyQuest in way they want to handle this invade. Spica's still going for it on a river. He's saying he doesn't quite want to give this up just yet, but Licorice has already reverted back towards the lane. And GG's response is to send River elsewhere.
All right, Spica on an aggressive champion,
Okay.
immediately making an impact on the game, stealing the red buff away, isolating the top side of the map. It's going to be a little annoying for Licorice, who got chunked out pretty heavily in that level 1 Cassante untouched, and so even though he probably lost some experience on the wave, should still be in a good spot. And this will isolate the bot lane as well for the side of FlyQuest. So a bit of a split map here. We'll see where Spica wants to go. He could, of course, just go to his bot side and kind of ignore the top lane. We'll see exactly how he wants to do it because Spica is in the driver's seat right now.
Yeah, right off the bat, we were wondering what is Spica going to do on this Elise now that he has somebody with a bit more of that gank power for the squad, and the immediate decision alongside Impact to get that invade and offset the way that River wanted to approach this early game. And meanwhile, over on the bot side, you see Prince, you see Eyla getting that farm up, pushing that wave forward against Stixxay and huhi on the Lucian Nami combo.
Yeah, so Spica does indeed stay on the top side, meaning that the Lucian Nami will be isolated, but the Lucian Nami is not super strong initially. It does take a little bit of time to ramp up. Its lane phase is good, especially with the sustain, but you can get the shove on it early, as you can see Nautilus and Varus able to do that here. It's really a one-item power spike, which is when they really get crazy at 6, especially with the Gale Force, and whenever the Imperial Mandate comes in for Nami as well. It's much more of a mid-game spike than I think people will sometimes give it credit for.
Through here onto VicLa, taking a bit of damage. And yes, it's always nice when you get the Gale Force for Stixxay because you both have that additional escape mechanism if you want to use it defensively, but you can move forward aggressively as well. And when paired with that Imperial Mandate, so that you will eventually have once hitting that mythic item. But we are a bit off from when he start getting into that territory. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, teleport being used by VicLa to return and continue up on the farm.
So speaking of mid lane, interesting, Gori taking first strike LeBlanc. People often identify LeBlanc a bit as a poke champion in the mid to late game. You often sit in the flanks, hop over a wall, QRE somebody, pop back. And in that situation, you can probably get a fair amount of gold and damage amp from the true damage that comes through from first strike. Lane phase, probably not as much of a focus, but I think Gori already knows that his kill threat on VicLa is going to be pretty low, which is how much auto push Tristana gets with her E passive, as you can see there, being able to get the wave shoving. And so I think Gori is saying, all right, I'm probably going to be last hitting underneath the turret. I'm going to take this first strike and go for a bit more of a scaling focus on the LeBlanc and try and get extra gold in my pocket to blow people up in the mid game.
Reserving that blow up for later on, and all the while that advantage that Spica created early has kept him up in the farm, kept him up in the XP against River, who is also gravitating over towards the bot side. Spica coming from the lane, a root and a stun up onto one. Immediate blast down, Spica claiming that first blood against huhi.
Eyla with such a nice Q through the minions. It was to the right side of the back line. I think huhi thought he was safe there, but the lollipop from Ayla's Q lands, chain CC, easy first blood.
Good early play from FlyQuest, 1.1k gold for them. VicLa jumping on in, the root response.
Painful.
a little bit.
It's a nice route by Gori there to make sure that there's not a second jump that comes through when the E reset gives you a second W. There, VicLa is forced to use it defensively, but it is something that you have to be careful of. If the Tristana is able to land the E, get enough auto attacks to get a second jump on your head, and that's when you start getting that solo kill threat that the Tristana can have on occasion.
Off of that bot lane reset with some of the aggression we saw on mid lane, though, all the while, River going and claiming this first dragon. You see Eyla nearby to be able to spot this out, but a neutral objective taken for GG.
Yeah, not a bad little pickup for themselves. Obviously not happy about it. Here's that hook that I was talking about. You can see who he thinks he's safe behind the minion line here. And as that minion dies, he's able to sneak it through the right side, pop him there, just hits the left side of the hitbox. Beautiful lollipopping. Everyone has felt that one before, and then that leads to the easy chain CC for Spica. So very good early game on the Elise. Good early game for Eyla as well.
The aggression, Aqua Prison response, but Prince being healthy and still having that firepower, nothing to be able to follow up upon that.
Yep, Eyla was just about to say, he's been under a microscope ever since summing in for Winsome on that win streak that they had. Then they started losing a little bit more with him, and I think a lot of people naturally kind of correlate one-to-one. New guy comes in, losses start piling up, his fault, but people have talked a lot about the scrims, and I might hold this point out as we see a dive coming through.
An attempt at one at that, Eyla going forward, ends up catching a little bit of wall because of that responding flash from Stixxay.
Whoa, VicLa!
VicLa going on in, a shot onto Stixxay. FlyQuest picking up the kill here. Good use of the Buster Shot, but Golden Guardians continue with their pursuit over the wall. Gori attempting to get the lockdown onto Prince. The root is good. The double off
bubble.
of Prison. More at that. Gori now on the retreat at the hand of FlyQuest, who are missing their mid laner. They're missing more. Eyla going for an attempt on River, who does eventually fall, but Spica in the lonesome. Golden Guardians pushing back on that dive. They take down everyone but Impact.
There is madness in the bot lane. FlyQuest making this brute force dive happen. Golden Guardians saw it coming the whole way, and so while VicLa does have a very nice insect buster shot to start this out, it does leave them, like you said, all on the wrong side of the turret. Nice flash for flash there initially. You can back off here and just, be happy with a little bit of turret damage as you make your escape. But here, VicLa just says, you know what, I'm going for it. Goes on Stixxay knowing that his flash is down. E probably still down as well with the long cooldown that it has early on. And there, you can see, nice kill, but how do you get out from here? Very, very nice bubble by huhi to make sure that they can't finish him off. Licorice as well with the flash ultimate to set that up. Is that a 4-man bubble or a 3-man? Couldn't quite tell there. But either way.
So many on top of each other that are
also,
prime target.
And then there's also clones going on there as well. It's hard to see, but nice CC there to find a lot of these kills. Saves that play for Golden Guardians.
Just the follow-up being so good once FlyQuest is pushed onto the opposite side. It's so satisfying when you do get the rocket jump into a buster shot and you go, yeah, but then unfortunately not in a position where FlyQuest are able to protect.
Yeah, it ends up being a 4 for 2 in the end for Golden Guardians there. So very happy to kind of stop that bleeding. Still has the goal lead in FlyQuest's favor. The one nice thing is you're doing it on the enemy side of the map, so they did grab that turret plate. There's not really anything for Golden Guardians aside from those kills to grab and, maybe getting a little bit of vision control out. But other than that, not the end of the world for FlyQuest. Still in the driver's seat. You can see Spica already working down on that Rift Herald.
Farming an advantage for Prince from that bot lane. Throw out of the ultimate for the desired catch onto River, but don't find.
Yeah, force him out of the jungle a little bit, but obviously River's going to be happy to take that ultimate as, whoa, Impact.
Licorice into the face of Impact, falling under quite a bit of damage. Spica is in the vicinity too.
It was a cute idea there actually by Impact because they had vision of River. They knew where he was. You also had Spica up on the top side. He can ult him in a line with Spica so that even though Spica's going to finish off the Rift Herald, from then the only way... Oh, hold on. Don't have time to finish this one. Another fight in the mid lane.
Oh, wanted to get a little bit of a blast, too much distance to be able to continue building up that charge. And now that River is here, the ult under the tower, punishing VicLa. Whenever you see that rocket jump used, you know what you can do to follow. Golden Guardians sure do, that's for sure.
VicLa has been so aggressive in recent weeks. He is not getting shy despite some of the blunders that have been coming through. Does lead to a kill there, but River has to extend for that one. Allows FlyQuest to find the answer. 9 kills in 9 minutes. We are having a bloody game.
There was some good bloody games over this week so far between yesterday and today, so excited to keep it going. And whenever you have your mobility on a champion like Tristana no longer available, your opponent can definitely punish. And now teleport used by VicLa to get back to lane. 30 seconds for the next dragon to spawn. The previous one acquired by Golden Guardians once that pressure was taken by FlyQuest over on that bot side.
All right, another invade by Spica here, wrapping around, spotted out by the sweeper of River, so he's not going to be surprised at it, but he doesn't have too much help around immediately. We see potentially Golden Guardians moving up to contest this.
VicLa's ready to get over that wall if needed. huhi and Stixxay join their jungler as the dragon now coming up. There is a ward in the pit from the Golden Guardian side, so as long as it's not swept out by FlyQuest, they continue to have this vision. River going in with his gap closer.
Pretty dangerous there for Spica, actually. If he got a little closer to the wall and the knockup from the VicQ can actually land in that range, you have range from the bubble as well to land that. Spica does not get caught out of position, so he's safe to drop this Rift Herald down the bot side. Get them some prio while also going for Dragon, potentially. We'll see if they can combo these objectives together.
Bot lane or mid lane, very great places to drop a Rift Herald when you have Dragon up on the table, and it's given FlyQuest time to get some more of their warding down, but still being very tempered in doing so, because Golden Guardians haven't unlocked Stixxay, huhi, and River from their positioning to be able to collapse if necessary. VicLa going in wants to charge up that explosive charge as much as possible for some damage ahead of this Dragon.
Really nice chunk by VicLa, though, is going to buy them this Dragon. FlyQuest plays have been pretty brute force in the sense that Golden Guardians sees them coming every step of the way. They did get that Rift Herald charge down, but they didn't have enough pressure afterwards to actually force that dragon until VicLa got that chunk down. Nice play by him, gets them this dragon, evens those out 1-1.
All right, bringing them out. Chem plants blooming across the rift. Gold lead under 1,000 for FlyQuest. Able to get some plates off of that charge over on that bot side too, weakening it enough for the FlyQuest bot lane to continue pushing up onto this turret. We'll wait out the next wave to follow up on that, but looks like we've kind of backed off of the aggression for some time now that those objectives are taken off. Unless we see a gank going across one of these lanes, a lot of laners are still locked in their current position.
Yeah, it was touch and go there for a second with the stare down to Dragon, but afterwards able to get that. And that puts Prince 1,000 gold ahead roughly of Stixxay at this point in the game. He's feeling pretty good. Rest of the map, relatively even. Some advantages for each side. Obviously, Spica's having a good game out to a lead on River. But Gori, interestingly, has actually gotten a fair amount of gold off his first strike this early on into the game. Gets another chunk there, I believe.
Just a lot of dishing back and forth. VicLa constantly jumping on in to try and get those folks onto Gori. Gori doing the same with the way that he is approaching the lane with his loadout.
Yeah, and like I was about to say, he's at 160 bonus gold already from the first strike. Certainly more than I was expecting him to get in the lane phase, and that's just going to keep scaling up now that he has his first item completed. He has his free boots that he's completely going to be able to complete those into boots too soon. And then in these situations where they're standing off around objective, if he can land poke with that rune choice, he can actually just farm a lot of gold through chip damage.
And when looking at the rest of Golden Guardians, Stixxay and huhi now with the Gale Force and Imperial Mandate. So finally looking to put that into action. The culling is good, the tidal wave is good, and Prince on the opposite side of the Aqua Prison, but in the end goes down. GG continuing with the follow-up. Eyla in a dangerous spot of HP without their bot laner here with the most gold. Golden Guardians make their rotation elsewhere and feel good about that pick.
Nice pick onto Prince. Like we said, he was able to get a lot of gold. They were able to jump on him before Spica could kind of play cover duty. The roam down by Gori does give VicLa some time to grab turret. He should still have his rocket jump up and able to get out just fine there after getting a little bit of a turret plate himself. But yeah, nice job by Golden Guardians getting on top. Even though it was an even number fight to start, they just got there faster, able to find Prince, get that kill. Stixxay barely living. The Spiderlings turned around by Spica because he had to back off, so not able to finish that one off with the Ignite ticking.
But nonetheless, a kill that Golden Guardians will try to reenact later on into the game.
Get me out of top lane. Don't show. There's nothing going on up there, observers. Stop it.
You know, like Sanse and just a rock, you know, pummeling at each other.
There's been exactly one play, and it was Impact ulting Licorice towards Rift Herald, and even that wasn't that cool. I tried to talk about it, and there's too much other cool stuff going on. We're not going top again.
I don't know. That's like, it's like a lo-fi vibes place right now. Sometimes you need a break.
It's veg, man. It's like if you're like, oh, I'm in Europe for some reason. It's 3 a.m. I'm watching this game right now, whatever it is. Yeah, then you can watch top lane, put you to sleep.
Okay. But it's currently 6:14 p.m. Pacific time over here. We're just getting riled up into the energy of the evening on, what is it, Thursday? I don't know what day of the week it is anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy. Long super week, and this has been a pretty exciting game.
Yeah. Looking for it. I mean, I always love just looking at the way that Eyla and huhi are going to be dishing out both those dredge lines in the Aqua Prison. They're just waiting for that one good lockdown for the rest of the team.
Yeah, and of course, that's what makes the Nautilus so dangerous. If you miss it but hit the terrain behind someone, you can end up going flying in, leaving yourself isolated. Now we have a big standoff around this Rift Herald.
River and has ultimate this time around. Oh, taking so much damage. The calling response. River, blasted on down by Prince, but VicLa is the one that gets traded. Eyla going for the root onto huhi. Also eliminated. Double kill coming in for Prince. FlyQuest looking to collapse what they've lost 3 members already. Golden Guardians coming in for the slaughter, but Stixxay is the one that falters. Now turning the action onto Impact, who gets the knockback and the stun and more onto Licorice. Only a little bit of tankiness left. No mana to be thrown back, and down into the bucket he goes. A scrappy one at that. Lots of kills to boot.
It's a full-on fist fight at the Rift Herald there. This was a nice catch-out kind of initially onto River, but I do like how Golden Guardians played this one out. It was a very nice tidal wave by huhi to kind of make sure that River couldn't get exploded from getting caught out there. They combo there all together. We don't have time. What am I saying? Of course it's going to be a fight.
VicLa and Gori still going at it on other sides of the map. River still winding on up to try and get here on VicLa, who does manage to take down Gori before being targeted himself, bustering away. Eyla in for the fight, a root against the wall, a stun up in the Aqua Prison for the knock-up. River wants to escape, can't do it. The scrap continues, double-digit kills for FlyQuest, and another dragon for them to claim.
Oh man, the wheels are coming off for Golden Guardians a little bit here. Get outplayed in the Rift Herald fight. They go right back down the bot lane to keep fighting. They win that one as well. VicLa has been a thorn in the side of Golden Guardians, being so aggressive and baiting them into so many of these situations.
And now 3.5k gold lead for FlyQuest.
Blue team has slain dragon.
Taking another dragon for themselves. And so much of this starts with just seeing VicLa and Gori at it, and then the rest of the team to follow.
Yeah, look at this fight. Just, what is this over? You know, it's like the dragon spawning, assume we want prio. Okay, let's just go fight to the death. I guess that's how we're going to do it. The fact that he took that little bit of chip damage there actually broke off the first strike from Gori to stop any damage from coming through. The flash forward, very aggressive. And Gori here just gets so greedy. Just wait for your buy to get on top of his face and goes for the Eve, which puts him in range for VicLa to just kill him. You know, River didn't have the Q knockup, I guess. And even if you slow play it, the rest of FlyQuest is collapsing faster. So a bit of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation there. The fact that they just brought more people faster off the reset gets them that kill. Oh, Rubak's fighting.
Oh, now it's on the opposite side. Tidal Wave getting a couple of the knockups, but River down. Aqua Prison onto Eyla, and the route all the way downtown makes Prince in a very dangerous position. Licorice wants to find an angle to come into this, does have the ultimate to disrupt, but FlyQuest taking away the jungler means that this Rift Herald is theirs on the subject. Ooh, that's so much onto Eyla, though. Even though you're on the Nautilus, you can get real squishy at certain times.
Almost killed the Nautilus, but also the Luden Splash stopped Prince's recall. So this is actually going to give Licorice and Golden Guardians some potential control around this objective, kind of forcing them back at this awkward desync, and Gori just continues to poke and prod at FlyQuest.
We've had a few fights now where there's an ace amount of kills distributed between both of the teams, and even when there's not, even when only one dies, there's such heavy burst and poke that comes through where it's that effectively made out of the fight aspect. And Golden Guardians able to do that in that moment. They delay the Rift Herald take, but FlyQuest all the while can get back on it immediately. Spica burning down there with a focus on Licorice up top.
Yeah, Licorice gonna get soloed out here. The rest of FlyQuest being able to collapse on top of him.
Oh, the lo-fi stops for a moment, but Licorice will be able to survive past that explosive charge.
If there's one thing that FlyQuest is doing slightly better in this game, it's the reaction to the big fight and what they get on the tail end of it. They were able to win that fight in the bot lane here after the Rift Herald's going down and Golden Guardians is on their reset. They're able to find Licorice, isolate him. That allows them to get the turret here. And so they are able to kind of combo these objectives at the tail end of these really scrappy fights. And I think that's more than anything what has netted them this 4,000 gold lead.
One that has granted themselves 2 turrets. The first 2 of the game, Golden Guardians with the response, Gori taking that bot line turret for themselves. So definitely a scrapper at this one. It was approaching over 4.4k gold lead for FlyQuest, now getting a bit of stability. We're still a while off from the next dragon at 220, so a chance for the players on both sides to return and get some more farming up.
We'll see if the pace of the game slows down. I doubt it with how aggressive these players are. VicLa and Gori both just have these killer instincts of not being able to avoid a fight. If there's a fight, they're going to take it. There's no fight that they don't like. Every angle looks good to them. Every angle is a solo kill.
I don't like your teleport. I got my teleport. And get out of my lane. Get out of my life. I feel like it's just the energy between these two. And now it's all the action from these teams across the mid lane as Spica, so brought down. Spica eliminated off of the top of this. And the pulling response into VicLa, the root response onto River, and the knockback from Eyla means not long for this world. Again, Impact separated from Prince. Golden Guardians taking down 3, disrupting the mid lane push of FlyQuest.
Yeah, they could potentially go Baron off the tail end of that. Gori didn't find a kill, but it was all off of his play that found all 3 of them. Here, Baron just spawned. FlyQuest, Impact, and Prince are going to have to make a play together to stop this one from going down.
And for that play, they begin with a teleport from Impact over on this top side. Gori scouting out
he sees him.
Prince into the bush. Takes damage immediately from Gori that goes for the root, but already marked down low. Prince flashing forward for it. Now Impact into the Baron pit, but his multiple members of Golden Guardians stunned in the back of the pit. Another teleport getting ushered in by FlyQuest. A channeled up Q from Prince, but back they go. Taking down Licorice. FlyQuest pushing Golden Guardians off of the Baron, who's down below 2,000 HP. still alive though. Is he gonna get back into the pit? He gets there, right around the Baron they go. Not this time around. If Prince has anything to say about it, FlyQuest punishing the push with the Red Bull Baron in their pocket now.
FlyQuest says TY for leash. They grabbed that objective, punishing Golden Guardians. Overstep there was a really cute idea. I liked what Golden Guardians were looking for. Just did not work out. Gori on the flank could not assassinate Prince, forced himself low. And without him, it was too hard to stop Impact because he's so tanky. They had to pick between the Baron and Impact. Couldn't make a choice. And then Tristana with the Unleashed Teleport. He was pinging that the whole time, by the way. In the actual chat, you can see that VicLa was saying, just stall that out. I have my teleport and we can find the chase down. What looked like a potential Golden Guardians Baron is swung back their way.
And now FlyQuest intend to make work with this Red Bull Baron buff, but what a chaotic Baron it was.
Yeah, here you can see this is after Gori had already gotten chunked out. Impact just jumps on Stixxay saying he's their only real damage dealer. If I can stop him, then they don't have any way to get the Baron down low enough that stalled it out. I stand corrected. It was actually Eyla who was pinging the teleport of VicLa saying, hey guys, just stall this out. Eyla kind of from the grave helping shot call the team that stalled it out. And here River is just chased down. He has to, oh, what am I saying? We're fighting again.
Again and again and again and again. Another tidal wave, another markdown River, and Licorice putting the work in to go in with that unstoppable work. But in the end, Stixxay's rooted, Stixxay's in trouble. Licorice falls, 3 eliminated for Golden Guardians. VicLa loves him, a rocket jump, loves him, the continuation when he gets that reset. Gori alone in the mid lane, but FlyQuest definitely building some momentum. Congratulations to Spica for 500 kills in his LCS career, making it in the midst of a great play from FlyQuest.
FlyQuest punished the engage by Golden Guardians, despite the nice combination of the Malphite ultimate with Gori's LeBlanc distortion, not enough to stop that push. FlyQuest now 8,000 gold ahead, looking at picking up a win and trying to keep pace with Cloud9.
30 kills in this game thus far, past 23 and a half minutes. I love it.
I gotta say thank you to Golden Guardians and
Thank you.
FlyQuest for giving us a banger of a Game 5. This is one of the best games we've had this split just in terms of pace of play. And right now, you know, Gori has had an incredible game. Just the FlyQuest side has been able to consistently find these punishes. Like we said, as these fights drag on and on and on, they seem to do a better job of tracking how the fight is going to develop.
Because there are those moments that, yes, you're mentioning how Gori's been doing well, and sometimes Golden Guardians, they get those multi-kills, but then with enough of the responsiveness from FlyQuest, even when they don't have the player advantage, has been working for them.
And that's why the kills are so spread out. The fact that these fights get so scrappy, everyone has a handful of deaths except for Impact. But I really do have to tip my cap to Spica, finally getting an aggressive champion this split towards the final end of the regular season, able to show why he was initially so feared on these kind of aggressive champions. We'll see if this is a kind of adaptation that they carry forward into the playoffs, because having him play aggro with VicLa, who obviously wants to be super aggressive, Prince is also an aggressive player, kind of just all-inning on this identity.
Especially when you know you have the other identity to fall back upon too. You know that he can take those tanks for that team play if they do have to adapt in draft. So going at the style that they desire to play, working into that aggressiveness of Spica and VicLa, FlyQuest finding confidence in their ability to do so in this match against Golden Guardians will do wonders for them into the rest of their Super Week and beyond. Of course, they do still have to close it out. No more Baron buff for them. 25 minutes in, 2 more minutes until Soul becomes an option. So instead, they create this dominance across their lanes, ushering room for the supers.
80% of games, I would say that we're going to see a slow 2 minutes until that fourth, Soul Point Dragon. But with this game, absolutely not. They go up to the top lane. They're going to try and pressure around this inner turret now that they have 2 inhibitors down.
And they feel good about the way that Impact and Eyla can do more to keep Prince and VicLa safe every time that Golden Guardians attempt to go for these hits. And ushering up so many control wards, just absolute domination of the vision game because of how they could push up after those fight advantages. Leaves little room for Golden Guardians to extend themselves.
Yeah, I like what River's doing here, though, knowing that the game is going to be basically over at this dragon fight, so already trying to get down there, get the Scuttle Crab in your favor for this dragon fight. Didn't have any wards to drop, unfortunately, on the sweeper, of course, so no huhi behind him. But FlyQuest, they might just go for the top side play. They're going to say, forget this dragon. We're going to try and win the game, I guess, or just set up for a Baron push.
See if they can get some kind of pick ahead of time. Impact finds River, but there's a lot of Golden Guardian firepower behind him, and
that was
Impact
clean.
gets off.
Use the unstoppable from the W to force out River's ultimate, getting nothing from it, and then backing off means that there's no real threat of an engage now on the side of Golden Guardians. So FlyQuest can just pressure as aggressively as they want.
That's exactly what they're going to try and do here. Impact is zoning off Gori. The rest of FlyQuest ushering this wave over on the top side. It's the only remaining turret. Licorice goes in with the ult. huhi ready to follow up. Gets knocked up onto multiple and the culling across the board. But Licorice soon to fall. Prince, even with the shielding up, is able to keep alive in it. VicLa going on in. The pull back to take down Licorice. 3 kills for FlyQuest thus far. huhi zoned off alongside Gori.
I stand corrected. They still have Malphite for the engage, but of course, then no follow-up means that once Prince has that stopwatch used, he's able to survive the fight. They're able to find the kills and now find the game for FlyQuest.
FlyQuest keeping their eyes on the Nexus. They want to silence the doubters that have been on them in this second round robin and remind LCS fans why they started so dominantly and why they're still in contention for that top spot.
Oh, Prince just standing back there, dancing the whole time, baiting Gori in as the Nexus explodes, lives with 16 HP, not even close. FlyQuest move up to 13 kills in a very, very scrappy game at the end of the day. Very impressive performance for the whole team. I really like the aggressiveness we saw out of them.
What a fun game to see from them, that's for sure. And after showing they have such strong fundamentals in team fighting and working with these tankier champions in the jungle position, unlocking Spica with a style that made all of the fans fall in love with his play when he first started emerging on scouting grounds and coming into the LCS. Now, a member of FlyQuest getting in the true glittery vibes of the season.
Yeah, the glitter fairy obviously strikes again.
I am surprised there's none sticking to me actually from when...
It's like the bigger glitter.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on, Golden Guardians, unfortunate loss for them, now sitting at 9 and 8. Still trying to find that elusive 10th win that the organization has never found in its entire history. Going to have to hope that they can find it tomorrow.
Golden Guardian fans, we'll have to give them their grandest of faith in their pursuit. See, there's some in the hair there.
Some still in VicLa's hair. The saving grace for Golden Guardians is it is Dignitas tomorrow, and they have been looking better with Tomo, so it's not a complete pushover game, but I do think it is something that Golden Guardians should be heavily favored in. Hopefully they can find that 10th win, secure themselves the 4th spot in the playoffs, make sure they get that bye, because if they do drop to 9 and 9, that is a position where they might get overtaken in some tiebreakers and stuff. So really, really important for Golden Guardians to try and find that game tomorrow.
And when you listen to the players on that squad, even though there's been some variance in their play and performance this season, even when they were joining on the dive, there is this belief that they can make the run, that when getting into playoffs, they have the ability to do so and come together as a squad. So finding those identifiers on which they can capitalize to come in with as much strength as possible is important.
Yeah, I think that game showed some of their power. They're very aggressive. Gori's an incredible playmaker. Just got, fell behind too much on the tail end of these plays. Some teamwork things that maybe they need to clean up. And they'll need to do that because the top 3 teams in the playoffs, FlyQuest, EG, and C9, all are looking pretty good. I know EG's been slumping a little bit recently. They have that kind of situation that they're dealing with playing from home right now. I know a lot of people talk about how it's just like a different mindset when you're not in front of the crowd, locked in and loaded, really focused on the game. So I think a lot of people still respect EG, though. So if Golden Guardians kind of want to punch into that category, they have a couple things that they need to clean up here.
Yeah, of a lot of the teams, EG are one of the squads that, when looking at their performances in past seasons, even if they do have slump times,
it's hard to really doubt them. Yeah.
They've proven as much and, turned it into a championship. So there's that. We are joining Jatt and Impact for our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you very much. I'm here with Impact, Cassante Gaming, this time against Golden Guardians.
Yeah.
How was it playing against Malphite and then also taking over the game? What are
I knew that he gonna play Malphite because we picked the Tristana, and I'm thinking because he played this Malphite in Scrim, so I'm thinking he gonna play Malphite. But my carry said that we don't care, so I said okay, then good. Okay, then I'm picking my Cassante because our team comp needs balance, and against Malphite was boring. yeah, just palm. But he TP bottom. That's my mistake because I didn't think he can TP with cookie. And yeah, I feel so bad at that game because I kind of int that 6-0. But after that, I play fine, I think.
Yeah, I see. It also gives FlyQuest the 13th win of the year, which I'm not sure if you know is the most wins FlyQuest has ever had in a regular season. So congratulations, your first split on FlyQuest, their best split ever so far.
Thank you.
But also, you are still tied with Cloud9 for the first seed, or not tied. You're one game behind Cloud9, but still have a chance of getting the first seed. How important would it be to get the first seed going into playoffs versus being second?
Actually, I don't care that much. I mean, maybe I care about our performance more. Like, I mean, I said it before too. I think our performance not doing great, especially today game 2. I think we can clean up easy because they pick greedy champion. So that's why we picked the Tristana to punish. But I mean, that's why I said my bad to Malphite TV. But still, we are getting better. So I just want we are getting better. You know, playing better and just detail-wise better and team play better. I don't care if we are rank 4, 5, 6, 7. I said, oh, it's not 7. 7 is now play.
Top 6.
Yeah, top 6. But yeah, that's how I think. I thought, you know, I don't care that much, number 2. But I will happy if we win that. You know, if we going to tiebreaker against United, I want revenge.
Awesome. Good to hear, Impact. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Thank you very much for the interview. Congratulations on the win.
Thanks
Let's send it over to Emily and Raz to close out the day.
Welcome back, guys. Emily, I think you have something to show us.
Yeah, we're down to this.
Thank
After
God.
starting with something that was essentially 2 lengths of me, so about like 10 feet long.
2 Emily's, yes.
2 of you stacked on top of each other. We're now down to less than a page. Sadly,
Just 1 day left.
we had another team drop out of playoff contention today in Team Liquid Honda
Rest
when
in
they
peace.
lost to CLG. And now we have this lovely cluster.
Yeah,
here.
so
And
TSM,
then
Golden
TSM.
Guardian, CLG, 100 Thieves, those are the teams that are kind of fighting for it. 100 Thieves, if I remember correctly, have to go up against IMT next. They're already guaranteed a tiebreaker, but beating IMT would guarantee them a place in playoffs. As you can see, they are fighting for 4th, and CLG and Golden Guardians right behind them. Golden Guardians are having a bit of a tough time, though.
Ooh, yeah. I think we cursed them, honestly. After talking them up so much. I mean, this game was really fun.
Yeah.
I loved it, personally, as an avid LPL enjoyer.
As a Malphite,
I guess I am also a Malphite enjoyer. But obviously, I think one thing about FlyQuest that I've kind of always appreciated, and there's always been this joke that VicLa plays every champion, like he plays Pantheon,
Yeah.
which used to be his one trick. You could kind of see it in the Tristana naturally like lends itself to that as well. And I appreciated that these 2 teams were just kind of like going at it. Obviously, Golden Guardians would much prefer to maybe pick and choose and take their fights a little bit more judiciously. And I think we've seen more holes in their like early to mid game. And that's kind of been the issue. I know I've talked a lot about how important River and by extension Gori have been to their success. And I think we've seen that kind of, get a little bit looser in the early game, leaving more opportunities for their opponents.
100%. And it is a big fight for Golden Guardians because in a lot of our projections, we projected them to be 4th. They keep slipping. They can find themselves in the bottom half. So let's just look at the schedule going into tomorrow's games. Going to be interested to see what that would look like. So CLG and Cloud9 going up against each other right at the top. CLG has, breathing new fresh air. Maybe they can take down Cloud9 there. FlyQuest versus TSM going into the second game. Team Liquid Honda versus Evil Geniuses will be the 3rd game of the day. Dignitas versus Golden Guardian in 4th. And then Immortals Progressive and 100 Thieves as the last game, quote unquote. Because at that point, then we go into tiebreakers.
Of all scenarios possible, only 2 have 0 tiebreakers. One has 5.
Yeah. Look, I want one or the other. Either we get no tiebreakers, and that means I get to go home a little earlier, or we have more tiebreakers, and that's just fun. Huh?
We're having a sleepover
True.
at the LCS
In
studio.
the studio. So, I mean, there's a lot of games to catch here that is already catching our eye. Playoff run is still interesting. What do you got for us?
I'm actually super curious about this, just because obviously EG have looked really, really shaky playing from their facility.
Yeah.
And additionally, Team Liquid Honda could experience the classic NA at Worlds meme, but within our own region, where like once that pressure is off, right? This is another team, loves to scrap, super high combined kills per minute. You know what? They like are looking for fights. They want the fights.
Yes.
And I am wondering if they can play a lot faster and loose, if they'll just come out and look like the dominant team that we've seen flashes of on stage and have rumored to has been like existing in scrims.
Hey, that makes a lot of sense. We saw Team Liquid getting a win just the day before, firing off with no pressure. Same could be said about Immortals Progressive yesterday. Yep. Today was also, you know, a tough game. They were firing off. Dignitas could have a good. So these are all banana peels that they could run into. Evil Geniuses, Golden Guardians, and 100 Thieves need to be able to pick up those wins. So that's it for us, guys. But remember, same time, same place, tomorrow. Be there for regular season. Starts at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern time. And that'll be it for us. Take it easy, guys.
Bye.
No way you need 3 water bottles.
I do.
You're serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
The water bottle seems to have disappeared.
You actually drink 48 ounces of water during a game?
How is it possible?
How many Gathering Storm stacks are you expecting?
Yesterday I drank 2.
Lucio's still off to the side. There, now he's gonna find his spot. He's into the back. He's found the carry. JoJo's destroyed. And Bucio just hit money. He's gonna try. Tenacity's ulti doesn't find the mark that time. Flashes into the event horizon. But now they've got the Elder. And now they're gonna take the fight. JoJo wants to get away from the Tristana, but Double M is done with this game. Evil Geniuses lose 4. Double M gets a triple kill. And it's 100 Thieves on the victory march. It's already looking close to that point for TSM. Dig. Tomo goes in and just explodes Wild Turtle. Nicely done. But now Haunter wants to return the favor. Ignor's already down. Tomo wants to get away to the side, but Boogie's after him. And the Q strikes true. He goes into stasis to buy the time while they kill Jensen.
Oh, Boogie's
but now we already got another fight. Boogie's into the back line, and Turtle kills Tomo. Already both bot laners dead on the side of Dig, as Santorin wants to go after the enemy AD carry, but he won't be able to find anything. Maple and the rest of TSM can turn it all around, and Dignitas can't do anything but die. Palafox having to flash away now from Harry. He finds the Shuriken flip. He goes in, but he doesn't have it. Harry dies. Contract to the rest of CLG have to retreat. Palafox is going to be killed now again.
Oh, they're going to go for it.
They're just going to put the chompers on the TP. Harry immediately popping the stasis while Team Liquid comes in to back up their mid laner. The shutdown. It's Harry, and he finds Luger. CLG loses contracts next, and it's a double kill back over to TL's mid. But Palafox mops them up.
Can we go now? Can we go now? Go, go, go.
Yeah. Go, no flash, no flash, no flash, no flash. Kill Bram too.
Go.
He has flash, okay? I'm tanking.
Nice.
Nice, guys.
Push so big, guys. Wow.
Beating them in over and over again. Balulu thought he could find the kill. Dekets can be dead. Revenge tries to find the TP kill. He drops now. Balulu himself finished off Cloud9. It's the push that just won't end.
Again. A shock blast from downtown. FlyQuest push
Baron still leads.
off of the Baron, who's down below 2,000 HP. Oh, River's still alive though. Is he gonna get back into the pit? He gets there. Right around the Baron they go. Not this time around. If Prince has anything to say about it. Licorice goes in with the ult. Huhi ready to follow up. Gets knocked up onto multiple and the culling across the board. But Licorice soon to fall. Prince, even with the shielding up, is able to keep alive in it. VicLa going on in. The pull back to take down Licorice. 3 kills for FlyQuest.